Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. Oh, well, can you notice I've got a cardigan on? Oh my goodness, it's feeling a little bit cooler today. Just looking at my thermostat, says 22, just a mere 22. 2 weeks ago that was reading 42. It's crazy, isn't it? So I'm having a bit of a change of plan today. And, sorry, something caught the corner of my eye. Yeah, a bit of a change of plan today. So, yesterday, as I was explaining, I was in the shed, yes, gather, sort of post-migraine over to the garden to enjoy a bit of fresh air and try and sort of, how to explain it. Someone was mentioning this and I thought, yeah, actually that's perfect. It's the thing of the day after you've had a migraine, it's almost like you've got a hangover. So I always say I feel really foggy, still feel a bit delicate, don't feel quite with it, can't rush into anything because the migraine will just come straight back, so you go a bit slowly. Anyway, the point is, it was great to get up. Rummy tumble, Tommy rumble. What is the word for that? Borborygmus, that's it. Oh, don't we love special words? I'm all over the place today, I realise already. I was mentioning that gorgeous word for the sound of wind and trees, soughing, gorgeous. I didn't put it on the screen, which I probably should have done, but it's spelt S-O-U-G-H-I-N-G, soughing. But that noise that my belly just made, that's borborygmus. Can't remember the spelling of that. Anyway, yeah, so I had that kind of slight migraine hangover yesterday, but it was great to get to the garden, and I was planning to do my emergency harvest of beans and chickpeas and some other bits and pieces. Anyway, I didn't get to do it. I just felt a bit bleh, and I thought probably what I need to do is just sit a while in the fresh air, have a bit of blow, just let it sort of blow my cobwebby head away. Anyway, so the plan was that I would do it all today instead. But this morning, I've woken up and my knees are killing me, absolutely killing me. It feels like in the night I've run a half marathon. And I've woken up this morning and, now I'm not mentioning any of this for any kind of sympathy. Don't want it, don't need it. I'm mentioning it because of what I'm about to talk about. So yeah, woke up and crikey, they're hurting. I've been up now, I'm just looking at the clock, I've been up about 3 hours and I still can't get my knees going, I can't get my legs going. Horrible, horrible pain this morning. So rather unusually, I've started the day, I've taken an anti-inflammatory medication in the hopes that it'll chill my knees out a bit because they're really cross at the moment. So I haven't been back to the garden yet. Ooh, eek. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be a bean year, is it? Never mind. As someone pointed out, that shop that's going to open near me soon, the sort of waste-free, plastic-free shop, hopefully they'll have a nice selection of all sorts of different beans. And hopefully they won't be too expensive. We'll see. Anyway, the reason I'm talking about my knees and my head is because, well, I really haven't been able to get my legs working this morning. And I was thinking about, and someone had mentioned it with reference to the migraine as well, about changes in atmospheric pressure. Now, I had speculated yesterday, I was wondering if, because I had the migraine started in the middle of Monday night going into Tuesday, we were getting our first proper dumping of rain. Hallelujah! Rain. Bit flipping late. But yeah, so it started in the middle of this rainstorm that preceded Storm Francis, which was a windy storm. Pardon me. Did we have a bit more rain? Can't remember. Anyway, so I suddenly was thinking about that this morning, about atmospheric pressure, barometric pressure to be exact. I'm wondering if that does have an effect on me. Is that partly responsible for some of my migraines? And then I was also thinking about my knees. Could it possibly have an effect on my knees? You know, I think a lot of people, I'm willing to bet that for any of you watching who have arthritis in any one of your joints, more than one probably, that when it's cold, damp weather, they feel worse. We hear a lot about this. This is what we call anecdotal evidence. So anyway, this morning, I thought, well, I'm struggling to get going. There's no way I'm going to get down to the garden this morning. I've got to try and let this inflammation or whatever is going on with my knees this morning, let it settle. So I thought, I'm going to quickly go on the computer, do a little bit of research about this barometric influence. Unfortunately, I no longer have my academic account, my academic library account, which I really miss, because I had access to literally every medical journal that's ever been written. Pretty much any academic journal that's ever been written, I had access to through that account. Even something on the subject of engineering or architecture, can look at the lot. So I no longer have an academic account. So I'm always a little bit wary about what I read online these days, about the quality of what that research is. Every now and again, I can find a paper which does have academic weight to it, but it's only the abstract, it's not the full article. However, it is possible to extrapolate quite useful information just from reading an abstract. So yeah, so I was looking this morning primarily at the influence of barometric pressure on joints with arthritis, so specifically osteoarthritic joints. Is there any evidence? And it seems that no, there is no hard evidence. However, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence out there for a drop in barometric pressure equating to a bad joint day. I read loads this morning, all sorts of speculations as to why that might be, but literally no firm evidence. So it's kind of a bit annoying because I would love to read some good evidence, but it just doesn't appear to be any out there. Anyway, so I thought, well, you know what, my knees, they feel absolutely rubbish today. I wonder what the barometric pressure is today, what was it yesterday, and actually, you know what, it has dropped. So, you know, maybe I'll keep a journal of bad leg days. Do I really want to remember, though, when I'm having a bad knee day? I just want to forget it, to be honest. But then I was thinking about my headaches. So, anyone with a migraine, literally anyone, and I know there will be a ton of you who also have migraine, anyone with a migraine will know at least some of their triggers, because we all have them. We all have those sort of like, they're like red rags to a bull, that one thing that we know is going to give us a migraine. So, for example, for a lot of people, they are food triggers. Very common food triggers include cheese and chocolate. I'm blessed that neither are a trigger for me. You know what, in some ways I wish they were, because then I wouldn't eat them. It's not so much the chocolate, I'm not a big chocolate eater, but cheese, Yeah, so, excuse me. Yeah, so I think the vast majority of people who get migraine will have one or more food triggers. I don't seem to have any except red wine. Now that red wine is such a strong trigger for me that I can't even smell it. I can't smell red wine without starting to get a migraine. It's horrible, it's immediate, it just makes me feel so ill, even the smell of it. I can't even snog someone who has drunk red wine without it making me ill. So if you want to snog with me, stick to white wine. Yeah, I can't smell it. So red wine, the smell of red wine, I never even mind the taste of it. I wouldn't even get as far as tasting it because the smell alone, it makes me ill. The other smell for me is petrol. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it? So if I'm with friends in a car and they suddenly say, oh, we'll just pop into the garage, I just need to fill up. I have to get out of the car before they go near the garage, let them fill up, let them come out of the garage, and then I'll get back into the car. Because that smell of petrol, just thinking about that and red wine, I feel a bit of a migraine coming on. Stop it, Vivi, don't get another one. Yeah, so virtually, pretty much every migraine sufferer will have a known trigger, more commonly than not food. So for instance, my dad, he couldn't eat pears. If he ate a pear, he'd get a migraine. How bizarre, most bizarre things. Of course, there is some evidence to say that migraine there's a genetic predisposition towards having them. So if you've had one parent or both with migraines, that increases the likelihood. I do feel a bit headachy talking about it. Yeah, that increases the likelihood that offspring will also have migraines. Cheers, Dad. So over the years, I've identified that I have two main triggers. One is tiredness. So if I've been burning the candle at both ends for too long, bam, I'm out cold. And I've always kind of figured it's my body's way of shutting me down. So when I keep burning the candle at both ends, when I'm not listening to my body asking for rest, the only way my body gets the rest is if it gives me a migraine. It's like we're two separate people. That migraine will put me to bed for 2 or 3 days. There you go, the body gets some rest. So yeah, tiredness when I get beyond tired. And also emotions. So if I'm having a really emotionally difficult time, if I'm not letting my emotions out, if I'm not dealing with them, migraine. So I've always found it best when I'm feeling stressed and upset and emotional about things, get it out in some way, whether it's with a journal, sitting, talking, crying even with a friend, whatever it is, just get it out. So back to this barometric thing, I was thinking, I wonder if that's true for me. So I was doing some more looking up on that this morning too. This was all really early this morning, sort of like 6:30, 7 this morning, just trying to get myself going for the day. So I wasn't wasting time doing it. It's never a waste of time to do research, is it? And unlike, say, with the joints, it seems that there is evidence to support the link between that fall in the barometer and migraines. So I didn't do a huge amount of reading on it this morning. If it interests you, go online and do your own reading, because it looks like there's quite a lot of information out there that it looks fairly reliable and certainly readable. But it was everything I was reading was talking about our sinuses, because obviously our sinuses are these sort of like pockets of air in our skulls, and that when there's that change in the air pressure outside of here, that has an effect. And Excuse me, suddenly feel a bit coffee. So I thought, well, yeah, that does all make sense. So it would be interesting. Oh, I don't know whether I want to make myself my own guinea pig, but it would be interesting to note, you know, when I'm having a migraine, it's just to note those kind of things. But on the other hand, when I'm in the middle of a migraine, the last thing I want to do is turn the computer on to get a barometric reading for the day. What I hadn't realised is the weather app. It's not really an app when it's on a PC, is it? What's it called when it's on a PC? It doesn't matter. The weather thing. There we go, technical. I'm always so technical. The weather thing that I use on the computer, it's the BBC's weather app. So you type in a specific town or city. So for me, I type in this. Actually, you don't just type in London because London's a massive place. You type in your own specific little area. And on the chart, it's an at a glance chart by the hour. It breaks down by the hour. So you can see straight away from the symbols if there's a nice yellow sunshine, if there are little clouds with black dots, that's rain, obviously. And as I was mentioning the other day, at the bottom of it, you've got the wind, speed and direction. That's the bit I never look at, which is why Storm Ellen caught me on the hoof a bit. But also what I hadn't realised is if you click on it, it gives you a barometer reading, it gives you a pressure reading. It also gives, in that bit, I think it gives humidity and the feels like temperature. So that's combining wind chill, or if there's no wind chill, humidity, all those things. So for instance, it's 25, but it feels 29 because of the humidity, whatever. So yeah, that barometer reading is there, should I want to look it up. I think what was interesting in one of these articles I read specifically about the migraines is I thought, oh, someone understands me, this is great. This is very quick now. They were saying how one of the horrible things about migraine is they're really hard to predict. So we know we have these triggers. So yeah, if chocolate is your trigger, at Easter time, if you eat a dozen eggs in one day, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a migraine the following day. But a lot of the time we can't predict our migraines, and because of that we end up, you know, we miss out on great chunks of fun and life. We miss out on, you know, I've missed out on so many parties and gatherings, weddings even, when I've been absolutely floored by a migraine. And we end up feeling so guilty because we feel we're letting people down, and it's really hard to sort of arrange things in advance with friends because you just don't know. I mean, I've been trying to catch up with one of my overseas friends to do a video chat, a little catch up. We haven't caught up for ages. I miss her like mad. And we were going to try and do it a couple of weekends ago, or 3 weekends. Oh, time's going so fast. And it was when I had that massive migraine at the beginning of the month that just went on for days and days. It's horrible. So I missed out on speaking to a friend because of this stupid migraine. And this article was talking about that and talking about how it can really make us feel miserable because we miss out, because we let people down, because we never want to plan too far ahead, because we just don't know if that weekend is going to be a migraine weekend or not. So it was nice to feel that there was that understanding from them. But they said if it was talking about making a note to see if there is any correlation between the occurrences of the migraine and a drop in pressure, because maybe if splashed up my nose, maybe if there is that correlation, then actually maybe we can look ahead and plan, therefore, because if we can see, we're due this drop in pressure in 2 weeks, maybe that might be a time to avoid making plans for socialising, because that might just be a time when we might end up with a stinker. On the other hand, how much psychology would be at work there in terms of if you start to, so for me, as I was saying, stress, emotions, what have you, play a huge part with my migraine. Imagine if I spent 2 weeks thinking, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to have a migraine. That would probably induce a migraine in me. Anyway, I think it's just really interesting stuff. Yeah. Human anatomy, physiology is endlessly fascinating. The weather, endlessly fascinating. All science, research, endlessly fascinating. I hope some of you are fascinated by it too. Like I said, I know that there's bound to be a ton of you out there who have migraine. There's bound to be even way more of you out there who have arthritis in at least one of your joints. I know we're a bit of a club, aren't we? So yeah, if you find that interesting, what I'm just chatting about this morning, get online, have a little look, do your own reading, immerse yourself in it. Not that it's going to cure any of us of any of our ills, but there we go. Right, so it was just a quick catch up. I am going to try to get these legs moving today. I'm just looking at the clock again. I'm going to have to do it in the next couple of hours because we're due a dumping of rain this afternoon. If this rain had been 4 weeks ago, I'd have been going, yay! But the rain we're getting now, useless. Too late. Garden's half dead. And actually, I don't want rain now because I want to harvest my onions. I want to harvest my lavender. Also, I'm so excited because it'll mean even more lavender bags for me to make. Gary has asked if I want to harvest his really, really gorgeous long row of lavender. Fantastic, because he's organic too. It's great. He must have 2-3 times as much lavender as me. So he said he wants it done over the next week or so, but if I can get down in the next week, I'm welcome to harvest his lavender. What a nice guy. Brilliant. So yeah, I don't really want the rain now. Never happy, are we? Right, on that note, cheerio, gorgeous people. I'll see you again soon, hopefully in the garden. But until then, look after yourselves. Go and tap the barometer, see what it's up to. See how you're feeling. Maybe there's a connection. Maybe just ignore it and get on with your day anyway, like I'm going to try to do. All right, lovelies. Bye for now.